Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Untitled Reviews. This being a show where it's about dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Billy the Kid. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Well, first and foremost, we start off with they're in Silver City, and seems like things haven't gone their way, especially for Antrim, because he's working on the mines and it blows up and kills the guy he was working with, Norm. And so now he's like, oh my god, I was so close to dying. Which, I mean, I would give the guy the benefit. It's like, yeah, it kind of sucks what happened, but you kind of are a dick and a douchebag, so you kind of lost all sympathy from, like, I think most people last episode, even to the point Billy, he's like, yeah, Billy, check my hat, you see, if that was over one more inch and I would be dead, if my head was over one more inch. And Billy's just like, yeah, he whispers to his mom, still loud enough for Henry to hear, to be like, yeah, if only it had actually hit and killed him, kind of, it would have been a blessing. So, and I love that he's so pissed. He's just like, that boy shows me no respect. And Kathleen doesn't say anything because regardless of anything, once again, she believes in the sanctity of marriage, that it was a vow taken under God. So she is going to keep going with the marriage. But you can tell she's thinking to herself, why should he respect you? You're not worth respecting, but I'm going to keep it as is, because moving to Silver City, like, they both need jobs to make up, to allow them to keep living here. They will not make enough money if they both don't have a job. So he's saying like, oh, I'm not going back to the mines. That's a death trap. I should have never taken that job. And that's kind of the last time you see him for a good chunk of the episode. He just kind of up and disappeared. Because we don't know the exact time frame, because the episode jumps around a lot. You just get undisclosed time skips. Like, it couldn't have been long. It's probably like a couple days at any point in time when they time skip. Maybe. Like, you never know how long the entire episode, like, the entire episode could have, like, taken course over, like, a month's time or something like that. Because Billy's brother Joe got sick with consumption. Which is, if I remember correctly, that's just, like, the old school name for TB, tuberculosis, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they're the same thing. Which sucks. I never knew that, though, that I guess, like, the young have a higher chance of surviving. I mean, I guess it makes sense because you're younger, your body's stronger, your immune system is probably going to be stronger, so it makes sense why kids will probably more. But I feel like, but this is just, I don't know, like, the general statistics in, like, real life, but I feel like most things I've ever seen, once again, they're fictional shows, maybe based on reality, based on history and stuff, but I feel like you see kids, I don't know if have kids ever bounce back from, maybe that was just a misconception, like, no, kids are young and strong, they're more likely to survive it. I mean, that's also the thing, like, how much is more likely? Is it like a 5% chance? That's still more likely than, 0% chance, so maybe that's kind of like the wording of it all, but that kind of sucks. And especially, like, how quickly that turnaround was. It's like, Joe's sick, Billy's going to need money, because obviously his mom, for one, she's working herself like crazy already, because she also has to compensate for the fact is that Henry's not bringing any income, because once again, he just kind of ups and disappears for most of the episode, and then he later on comes back like, oh yeah, I've sat with Jesus, blah, 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 shut up. And Billy tried to get a rancher job that Mr. Upson tried to set him up with, but the guy won't hire Billy. He was saying, like, because Upson was like, no, like, Billy got it. It's like, yeah, he might not got it first, but he got it the second time. So it's like, yeah, just give him a little practice. He's like, I'm not going to pay some guy to practice. And he's like, yeah. And then he basically makes it clear that this was really about Mr. Upson, him looking into the Santa Fe ring. It's like, oh, so Matthews is part of it. And it's like, oh, Billy not being able to find a job in this regard is kind of not on Billy, but it's more so on him. It's like, right, he's sending a message to me, but Billy's like, right, you're also sending a message to me that just once again, every time he's come across people who are connected to this in some shape or form, they got away. Just like the guy last episode getting to kill Carlos and got away with it. No problem. It's like, yeah, you're sending a message of your own, like that the rich and powerful can just get away with whatever they want to. Yeah, it's like, like, regardless of Billy's circumstances, you're not going to help him out. That these people just do whatever they want to and will screw you over if you are any shape or form a hindrance to what they're up to. Because Upson has they steered the pot here in Silver City with all the questions in his investigation. So Billy's also, like, ended up losing a lot of his savings. Because I was curious, like, I was like, you are betting money and losing it like that. Isn't that a bad thing? But I guess it's like, it's his money and not like the family money. It's just money he had saved up, but he ended up losing it in a card game against that guy. He said Jesse, and the moment he said that, I was like, as in Jesse James? Question mark? Because I kept thinking, I was like, Billy the Kid is one of those other outlaws. I'm like, I know that name, but I can never remember the other outlaw, well-known outlaw that I knew. And I was like, it's Jesse James, right? If I'm not mistaken, isn't his nickname like the Sundance Kid? Okay, some really quick Googling. The Sundance Kid is a completely different person. And I think Butch Cassidy might be the other name. Like, if there's a correlation between all of them, whether they've all ran in a similar circle, Butch Cassidy, Jesse James, and Billy the Kid. Once again, I've talked about in the first episode, this is history stuff I know next to nothing about. It's just the only things I know is what I know popularized. They're like popularized outlaws that, like, history, you know, they popped up in different media and stuff like that, but I'm still not well versed in because most of the media that they popped up in I've never like watched anyway, so like their names I've heard but don't really know. So if I'm saying something wrong, like I said, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and Billy, like if they were not even like running around the same time, do forgive me, because like I said, I'm wrong about it. But I heard Jesse and I was like, Jesse James? Like, that's immediately what came on my mind. I don't know if that's who he's supposed to be. That's where my mind was. But interesting enough, I kept looking. I was like, why does that actor who plays Jesse look so familiar? I know that actor from season 1 of The Punisher, formerly on Netflix, now on Disney Plus. But he's the soldier that was, like, you followed his story throughout season 1. He's the soldier that was going through a pretty rough time. It just kind of threw me for a loop because now in this he's got longer hair and stuff. So I mean, it makes sense because that was he was a military person, so obviously his hair is going to be like buzzed. But regardless and all that, Jesse and Billy hit it off. In fact, I guess Jesse kind of shows Billy a thing or two because Billy's pretty skilled with a gun, but Jesse kind of like tells him like, oh, like when's the last time you like maintenance your gun, like made it so that the trigger isn't so like. It's a little harder or something like that. I forgot what he was really saying, but he was kind of giving Billy the ins and outs. But Billy showed his own skills and just is like, right, I guess I got nothing else to teach you, huh, kid? Which I do love that is just the thing of just like, yeah, like everyone's calling him that. I even love his nickname it's not Billy the Kid yet, it's Billy Antrim, currently. But I think eventually, we'll get around to Billy the Kid. But I mean, I'm not too surprised where his nickname comes from because he is like super young. In fact, once I brought it up in the first episode because I never knew this, he was extremely young when he was out. He was like 23 or something when he died in real life. So like I understand why the nickname the Kid would stick because it's like, it's probably just like a mobster having the name Babyface because you might have a literal babyface. Tangents and all that aside, Jesse ended up offering Billy work. It's basically like, let's shoo off some cattle from Matthews, the same guy that wouldn't give Billy a job. So Billy had even more reason to go like, oh yeah, fuck that guy. Yeah, like if he's going to give me some extra scratch on the side, fine, let's do that. But then you hard cut to his brother's death. And the moment I thought was interesting where Upson was like, oh, I wish I could do something for you. She's like, I know you can't. I wouldn't want you to. You can't do anything for me. And even if you could, I wouldn't want you. Because she still wants to believe that, this is part of God's plan. And she's like, my baby was taken from me too soon, but that's just the way it is. She kind of feels like she failed in some shape or form. I think, as a mother, it's like, right, no child should die before their parents. I think every parent's mentality. And I think for her, it's just especially because like, Joe never even got to live a life, and she thinks that's such a shame. But for Billy, it's like at the very least, he's together with Pa in heaven. And like I brought up earlier, Henry shows up wanting to give his condolences. It's like, well, you never cared about this family, just go. Like, and Kathleen doesn't even want. It's like married or not. It's like I want nothing to do with you because Billy almost popped off on him in the beginning of the episode because Kathleen wouldn't show it. He's like, she said like, all right, you're going to need to get a job too because that's the only way we're going to have enough to pay. And he called her a heartless bitch. And you have Billy stand up like, what the fuck you just called my mom? But Kathleen even asked Billy not to doing anything to Henry because it's like, right, if you do something to him, it's going to fall back on you. It's like, I don't want you to do it for his sake. I want you to do it for your sake because I need you to be around because this is before they found out his brother was sick. So it's like, because for her, she's like, I don't know what we'd do without you, Billy. Because he took up a lot of responsibilities. He had to grow up pretty quickly to look after his mom and his brother, especially with someone like Henry sticking around. he was a means to an end. But later on, the rat bastard sneaks into the house after he shows up at the funeral, just popping up out of nowhere to rob them blind and be like, yo, this is my money. And Billy pulled a gun on him. He's like, yo, I should put you down, kind of like the animal you are. But he admits, like, I'm not a good person. I'm a cowardly person. I was hoping, because Kathleen believed in people could change. That's why she also didn't want Billy to kill him, because she's like, I truly believe he can change. I think later on, Kathleen, like, after everything, after him not being there, after showing up, trying to pay his respects for Joe, it's like, no, you can't change. I finally see you for who you are. I want to believe you could change. I don't believe that anymore. And so I think for him, he even says that he thought when he ran into her, like he said that he wasn't a good person, but he wanted to be. He wanted to change, and he thought the good woman that Kathleen is and Joe, like he thought when he saw Billy and Kathleen, he's like, I saw an opportunity. I thought she could change me, and I could change. I could be good, you know. Because he also was running his mouth off, because it's like, Red, you're not a good man like my pa. And he was like, your pa, who ended up exiting life on you. I was like, why are you running your mouth when Billy's already got a gun to you? You want him to have extra reason to shoot you? But I guess Billy wanted to respect his mom's wishes and just not like, right, my mom needs me after having lost Joe. I'm not going to get myself locked up, just wasting a bullet and throwing away my life where I need to be sticking around for mama. I'm not going to do it for him, so. But his mom believed, that despite everything was going to be okay. Everything was going to turn out all right. But sadly, she ended up getting consumption as well. And she was kind of upset because she's like, right, she doesn't want to go yet. And Billy was like, yo, I swear to you, I'm not going to let you go either. And he stayed by his mom's side until the point she was like, I need you to let me go. I've seen into your soul, Billy. You are a good person. Because I think it's that thing of, I need you to let me go so that you can be on with your life. But that way I can go off and I can be with your pa and Joe again. And, that is a rough thing, losing his dad, then his little brother, now his mom, and he's all alone in this world. And then after his mom died, like, people came in to pack up the house. I don't know whether it's because, like, right, Billy doesn't have the money or the income or even a job to really bring in the money necessary to keep that going, because it's like, right, his mom's not there to bring in the money, neither is Henry. So either those are people that Henry owed and they finally caught up with him and took all that stuff, or what. But Billy had no money and he was alone in his world, so Jesse offered him a job, which is like, oh, let's rob that store. And obviously it's like, I know what your future involves, you being an outlaw, but I didn't like the reason behind it. It's like, oh yeah, let's rob them because they're Chinamen, and you're just like, oh God. And Billy was kind of, the thing is, he had his reluctancy, but he still went along with it, and that's kind of the issue. But while they're in the middle of robbing the place, then you kind of get a conscience like, no, let's not do this. Jesse gets shot because the owner of the store, the laundromat actually, ended up shooting him, and Billy ends up getting arrested. In fact, thrown in jail for 3 years, which Billy's like, I don't get to defend myself. He's like, yeah, I might have done that, but I didn't hurt no one, nor did I steal anything, so shouldn't I be able to get, like, at least some, let's not get it twisted. You were still robbing that place, but I don't know what I think he's at least trying to say, like, my sentence shouldn't be that heavy, considering I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't actually take anything. So that kind of sucks. But then Upson was kind of like, right, Judge, you're only treating him this harshly because of me. So it's once again because the word is about Billy's connection to Upson is what's really like putting a stranglehold on Billy. So at first I was like, when Billy hangs himself at the end, I was like, well, not at the end, but near the end of the episode, I was like, is he actually doing that because it's better than just rotting away in the cell? But then he's like, nope. He tricked that cop to come in there, took his gun, and it's like, do not give me 2 minutes and don't yell, because if you do, I will come back and finish you off. Leaves that guy's gun and make sure to take his own, and he leaves. So once again, I think we're slowly but surely building the infamy that will eventually become Billy the Kid. We're kind of we're rolling down that path. Once again, I know nothing about Billy the Kid, so in some parts of my mind, I treat Billy like he's kind of almost a Robin Hood. And because they even set it up to be like, right, he doesn't go out. I mean, I don't know if this is true to him in history. This might be just them painting him this way to make him a little more sympathetic. I mean, because some of this might be true about his circumstances in real life, but maybe the show's going to try and paint him even more sympathetic that, right, I don't just gun people down just to gun people down. Everyone I kill is in self-defense. You know, like the guy in the first episode is like, I gave him multiple chances just to walk away, and he's like, and Billy was like, please don't make me kill you, and even made sure that the guy got a proper burial. So once again, we still don't know if that correlates to the Santa Fe ring situation or not, what Billy's circumstances are, but we know Jesse's still alive. He managed to get away, and it's like, yeah, Billy found himself in that situation, and I'm sure for him it's like, right, luckily my mom's not around to have to suffer through that, because it would break her heart. It's like, what did I do? The moment my mom was going, I did exactly what granted, I didn't go after Antrim and end up in trouble. I tried robbing someone and ended up in trouble, especially after my mom was like, Kathleen said she looked into his soul and saw that he was good, and that's the thing. He is, but it's like, right, humans, we are capable of doing a lot of stuff we never thought we'd be capable of when push comes to shove. It's like, it's a lawless time. It's a rough time to be alive at that time. And, you got to do whatever it takes to get by when you're just like, there's no opportunities for you. And you kind of have nothing else to go for. Like, you're not living for your mom anymore. You're not living for your dad. You're not living for your brother. All you can do is live for yourself. And I think live for their sakes. Live for those who are no longer around. So I think that's why you kind of have to live even more of a life, of why you have to keep going, even when it's tough like that. Obviously it's easier said than done. I wouldn't even know what to do in the circumstances like that. Obviously, time frame aside, just even present day, like losing everyone in your family like that, I don't know, man. It takes a lot to keep going after something like that. So I would assume that's Billy's motivation of like, right, I've got to live for my family's sake, because live a life that they weren't able to live. My brother's life that was cut too short. My mom's life that she worked so hard for all of us just because that was also the thing too, because him and his mom had that conversation about, was it all worth it? And I think Billy's thing was, did we really have much of a choice? And in the grand scheme of things, she believes, I think, well, God, she's like, right, not to bring God into it, but she's like, I don't think we do. I think for her, she kind of believes that everything is meant to play out the way it's meant to play out, so you can't really skew too far away from the path that was kind of paved for you. And that's how I kind of took it. So we'll ultimately have to wait and see where the next episode takes us with this, but I am curious to see what's next for Billy. Obviously, he can't stay in Silver City after breaking out like that, so maybe he's going to meet up with Jesse and his boys, and they kind of go out and do their thing somewhere else. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, and also like where Upson, what his role is, and all of this going forward too, as he continues to investigate the Santa Fe ring and stuff like that. So. But like I said, I'm excited to see where the next episode takes us with all of this. But really, that's all I want to talk about. To the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.